speaking about is Satyakama Sankalpa. When our consciousness, will and thought functions are rooted in truth, they should materialize themselves at once in the forms they are expected. That's how the true evolved persons do the things. When we are conscious, our consciousness, will and thought functions are fixed, rooted in the truth. That means, as I told you, that coming from the center of the heart, if we are always at that consciousness, at that level, with the Brahman, whatever is desired and whatever is created in the vision or the desire that is created, we can call it as desire. It immediately happens. That's why we say, Bhagwan ko der nahi lagta hai. It just takes, he has to just think. It happens. You think, it happens, they say. Somebody who is powerful, they say that, okay. You just say, it will happen. You just think, it will happen. You just bless, it will happen. Right? That's why people are praying to the great noble men, because they are rooted in the truth. Their consciousness, their will and their power, their thoughts, and everything is rooted in the truth, and they are not different from the truth. So that what is created from the truth cannot be untruth. That's why it immediately happens. It doesn't take time, because there is no time in the sense there is no distance. There is space. Distance means where? How a distance takes place. Distance has got two parameters. One is the space, another is time. In both the cases there is a distance. That is why we are unable to attach ourselves with those objects which we think we are wanting to connect. Whereas a great person, noble person who is totally evolved, his consciousness and his thoughts and everything is rooted in the Satya, that's Satyakama, that is in the Brahman. When he is in the Brahman and he is the Brahman, when he is in the Brahman, he is the Brahman, the question of him and the thought being different is not there. So the thought that comes in him is in the Brahman, and it is the Brahman who is supposed to make it happen or make it true. Since he is the Brahman, thought is the Brahman, thinking is disposed in the Brahman, and the Brahman is the one who is executing it, there is no time and space in between. When there is a time and space, then only we are unable to remember, we are unable to activate, we are unable to make things happen is why we are unable to make our desires happen. Because between our desire and us, we are two different things. The desire is different from me, and that desire, depending upon the intensity of your attachment or closeness towards the truth, the distance and time varies. The more you are closer to the truth, the distance is less. See, it's very relative. It's a relative term. Otherwise, the distance is very high. When the time and the distance and the space is involved, you are not in a position to get that right through according to your wishes. Is that what he says, about the rooted through the Satya, rooted in the Satya. It's called Satya Kama. Then only the Satya Sankalpa also can come. The Sankalpa has to be Satya. Sankalpa, we have divided it, Sankalpa as different and Satya as different. Now, what we want is that we want a Sankalpa through the mana and want it to happen Satya. What is Sankalpa? We are desiring. A Sankalpa is that I am desiring in the mind. I want it to happen. If the mana is not closer to the Atma, if we are not rooted into the truth, the Sankalpa is totally away from the Satya. When the Sankalpa is away from the Satya, either it takes time or it doesn't happen. If the Sankalpa is established in Satya, it is known as the Satya Sankalpa. When it is Satya Sankalpa, it's immediate. There is no time taken because there is no time and space in between. So long there is time and space in between. We are discussing about time and space now. There are so many things will come. That's why the body consciousness comes. That's why so many other things come. That's why we are unable to see what is going to happen, what has happened. That's why we have got three status. That is the Bhuta, Vartamana and Bhavi. This Bhuta, Vartamana and Bhavi, this we have already discussed earlier. They are only because of the how this has come. This has come only based on the space and time. Had there been no space and no time, where is the question of Bhuta, Vartamana and Bhavi? I used to tell you about the Maharishis and Tapasvis who could predict Bhagavan Krishna's Janma when Ramayana was going on. That was in the Dwapara. In Dwapara, a rishi could predict Krishna's birth in Treta. How many millions of years later? He could see it. Why? For us it is millions of years. But for him, it is there. There is no time and space for him. So when there is no time and space is involved, that which is gone, that which is supposed to come, that which is the past and that which is the future, that is gone away from us, that is coming to us, that is dead and that is being born, can be easily understood, can be seen, because he is not bound by time and space. Why he is not bound by time and space? Because he is not static. He is not static in the body and the body consciousness and the mind consciousness, the mind and body consciousness. He is rooted absolutely into the Satya. That means he is a Brahma Sakshatkari. The one who is a Brahma Sakshatkari, for him the words spoken immediately happens, or the thought created immediately happens. And for others who have time and space, either it takes long time to achieve the objective desire, or it doesn't happen. So it remains as that who is in the avyaktam, that takes place immediately. So the case of the third paragraph says, The case of such persons, that's why I gave you an introduction to the such persons. He starts with that. The case of such persons who are not bound by time and space, whose will is not so rooted through, now he is telling the other side of it. The case of, in the case of such persons whose will is not rooted through in truth, is like the case of those who are subject to domination by other rulers. Mostly the Jivatmas, who are the human beings, and Jivatmas basically, mostly the human, because human is the one who is violates and discovers the truth. So they are dominated by others because they are the ones, those who are not rooted in the truth. That means the human beings who are believing that the past, present and future, who are living in the past, present and future concept, who are living in the body consciousness, who are living in the objective externalities. Those people have to depend on the externals. We have talked enough about internal and external. The externalities are those desires, as I explained to you in the previous class. The externalities are those which are imaginary, which is not rooted through the consciousness, so the true identification of the objective experience cannot be obtained, could not be obtained, is why one gets entangled into the objective, illusionary objective experimental experience, and thereby he is, you can say, dominated, or he is controlled, or he is connected with the object. For any experience, he is connected with the possession of the object or knowledge of the object. When he is dependent on the object for the knowledge, when he is dependent on the object for the consciousness, one is a true consciousness identifying the object. In the Jivatmas, they depend upon the object to identify the consciousness. Got it? This way. So if a person is dependent upon the object to identify the conscious, because we all think the human beings today who are in the body consciousness and the mind consciousness, they think it is only through objective studies that I'll be able to, that's why Dvaita Siddhanta we said, through objective studies only we can identify the self, or identify the Brahman, or identify the truth, or identify the Atma, are mistaken, because they are totally dependent on the object. And in that, even though there is no object and subject, ultimately we will come to that in Advaita Siddhanta. Now it is Dvaitam. Even though it will come at a later stage that there is no subject and object, everything is subject only. But the perception that there is an object, makes us run behind the object, is it not? It's very true. Even though you are the one who is an enjoyer, yes, you are the one who is an enjoyer. For any happiness and sorrows, what happens? You need another instrument, that means an object, another person, another place, another situation, another understanding. You require another instrument in order to make you happy and sorrow. Even though the happiness and sorrow and sadness or happiness is inherent in you, you depend on the external object to evoke it. Yes. So the mind says indirectly, the happiness is in the object, sorrow is in the object, sadness is in the object. So long the mind is understanding that these things are inherent in the object and I can derive that from the object, is that misconception? And because of that misconception only, the mind keeps traveling to objects from one to other, looking for the happiness and sorrows. Whereas it's an inherent subject that is there in you, that from which the happiness and sorrows are created. In contact, even though it is happening like that, but you are not able to recognize and realize it. Even today we say that because of that I am happy, because of that I am sad, because of him I am sad, because of him I am happy, because of that situation I am happy, because of that situation I am sad. In all that, who is common? I am common. I is the one who is common. That common factor is the one which is the truth. Those which are externalities, the mind who is depending upon the externality to make you aware that you are happy and sad. You want to depend upon the externality, and ultimately because of the Maya is that ignorance of the mind concludes, it's very clever. It's not only that it goes into the search of it, because he has done the mischief. He doesn't want anybody else to interpret it, so the mind interprets it, concludes it that the happiness is in the object. The happiness is in the, or sadness is in the object. Whereas the truth is that the object itself is an illusion, the object itself is an imagination, and deriving of the happiness or sadness from the objects, naturally from the illusion, what can be derived is also an illusion. Multiples of illusions, nothing other than that. So in fact, there is no fact in it at all. It's absolutely untruth. Not only that there is no fact, it is untruth. Upanishad says it is untruth. That's the word he is using somewhere. It's untruth. So dependency, so domination, if one is dependent on the object, the domination by the object has to be, that means domination is also an imaginary concept by the mind. You see, it thinks that it dominates me. Like many people get hallucinations. He says the voice is directing me, the sound is directing me, the vision is directing me, that person is directing me. He is totally in the control of that. They say that I am possessed. What is it? What is the word? I am possessed. Who possessed you? Who possessed you? Object possessed you. Who is that object? Imaginary object. That imaginary object created by the mind creates an object first, and that object is possessing you. Now you can imagine what is the condition of that. I am saying there is evil, I am saying there is a demon, I am saying there is booth, and that booth is controlling me. Ultimately, who is controlling? My mind, my ignorance in my mind is controlling me. Where is it? It's subjective. Neither the booth or the projection, the rope and the snake. The same story of the rope and the snake. The illusion that is created by your mind, that you have created this fear, you have created this pleasure. You think that the pleasure is in someone else. The pleasure is with somebody else. The pleasure is with something else. And we are after that object. Once that object is received, then you find that it is not only pleasure, there is also pain. You said there is pleasure in object, and you were sure there is pleasure in object, and once you have possessed it, you say there is pain. How tricky it is. And then we believe it. Who believes it? Again, who is believing it? Who is a believer? Who, as I told you, that's why so long you are the enjoyer, you say whatever you want. Sometimes you say I am happy, sometimes you say I am sad. Both are wrong statements through ignorance. Neither you are happy nor you are sad. Both are your hallucinations. Hallucinations are those which are not fact. It's a very modified word, I don't know. Maybe a Greek word from where it has come. From, illumination and all that. Together it has come. So which is only a sort of imagination by the mind. So that is what he is telling. If you are such persons who will not be rooted in the truth, that means who are dependent on the object, they are dominated by the object. And who are the objects? Untruth, which is not there. It's imagination. That imagination controls me. Maybe when I am reading Upanishad, you may think, oh, it's a big thing. We are experiencing every day. As I always tell, when we were children, in the darkness, when there is no light, there is dark, we have to move, even now some people, to move from one room to the other room. The house which you lived for so many years, or moving every day for a number of times, once there is darkness, you are scared of going into that room. Why? No, I am scared. From where that scare has come? Who created? Is the room created that scare in you? The room you had been going every time? Did it create the fear in you? Or the darkness created the fear in you? No. Because you are dependent on the light, you are dependent on the darkness, the fear has been created by you. You are dominated by that. You are dominated by that ignorance. I know exactly where is my room. Even in the darkness, you can go, you can know, you can open your drawer, you know where you have kept your key exactly. You won't looking for it. It will be just, your hand will go exactly there. But what happens? The one who is scared, one who has got fear, the moment the light is off, he is stuck to his seat. Now he's scared now to move. Somebody says, I am feeling thirsty. Wait, let the light come, then I will give you water. Isn't it? Tell me honestly. Why the water? Why the light should come? You can go in the darkness. You know where is the water exactly. And you pour. You can pour the water inside the glass very well without spilling it. Everything can be done. What happened? I am dominated by the object which I have created, is what the example I have told you. Am I right? Now you see how it is. This is how we are living. Dependent on the object. When I am dependent on the object, whomever I am dependent on, that will dominate me. So if I am dependent on now I go back. When I am dependent on the Atma, Atma will direct me. In the Atma, there is no darkness, there is no fear, there is no ignorance, there is no ajnanam, there is only absolute truth. Is what is called rooted in the truth. As I told you, again the same way we are repeating. As I told you last time, when you are going away from the center of the heart, when you are going away from your friend is forgotten from your mind. When you are becoming closer to something, your being here has made you forget the other. You created a past because you are Your attachment. Your attachment has created the detachment. See, had there been no attachment, there would not have been a detachment. Everything would have been same. So yesterday and today and tomorrow would be the same. There will be no difference. There will be no. The consciousness will be aware of what was yesterday, what is today, and what is tomorrow. Everything can be seen now. There will be only one term. There are not. That's why Bhagavan is known as Trikala Darshi. Trikala for you, darshanam of that Trikala, when he does it, Trikala Darshi. One who can see all Trikala Darshi, has he got any Kala? Has he got any space and time? He doesn't have any creation of space and time. That's why whenever he thinks, that happens. Whatever he thinks, whatever desire comes from that. Because that desire that is coming in him comes from the tapasya, we call it. What is that tapasya? From the consciousness, from the truth, from the absolute jnanam it comes. That thought which comes from the jnanam will automatically materialize. That is why we say that when the great people say tathastu, it happens. Be careful, says. And Durvasa comes, everybody is alert. He says that be careful. If you are making some mistake, if he gets annoyed, the word he speaks, it just happens. It's rooted to the truth. It's a fear that is created. This side it is a fear created because they are dependent on Durvasa. They are dependent on Durvasa. That's why they have got a fear of Durvasa. Suppose he, as a Maharishi or a Tapasvi of Maharishi Vasishta or Vishwamitra or Bhagavan Shiv's or Bhagavan Shiv himself, for him, Durvasa is no more a threat. They are rooted in that truth. So we must be very clear. Where should we? That's where we are going. What is being emphasized here is that in everything, because of our consciousness, there are different levels of consciousness. 7 levels of consciousness. And 7 levels of consciousness below. 14, we call it as 14 worlds. 14 world, what is the world? World is the field of experience, that's all. This is my world, that is my world. This is his world, that is his world. The world means your state of experience is called a world. The 7 worlds mean 7 experiences of world. In different layers of vibrational frequencies, you have got different experiences, so we call it as a world. Lokaha, world, English. Lokaha, lokam. Lokam means that where I am now present is called loka, my loka. No? Swarga loka, they said. Suvarga loka is Swarga loka, where you are connected with the activities of what is Su, that everything is auspicious, everything good, everything right. When you are connected with that, you will feel that Swarga loka. Sometimes we use this word, I feel I am in Swarga. I feel I am in heaven. Because something has happened, small thing. So, I feel I am in heaven. So, when the happiness goes to extreme, we are absolutely in that consciousness is called that world. So, in different worlds are different experiences. We should not go into that. Anyway, we will be coming to those explanations. We should be in that static with the Antara Atma, stable with the Atma. So when you are stable with the Atma, you are in a position to make things happen immediately, functions will take place immediately, is what he said here. This means that the sustenance of these people who are subject to domination by others is dependent on factors external to themselves. Whenever you are dependent on something, you are dominated by that. It's very clear. Even though you think you are dominating, you are dominated. If you think that habit gives you pleasure, you are dominated by that habit. If that characteristics, if you are dependent on certain characteristics, and you will think that, okay, that character will dominate you. That habit will dominate you. That thought will dominate you, when you are dependent on that. When you are dependent on fear, fear will dominate you. Yes. So always there is a fear. So don't depend. What he says is that dependence is not it is not a conscious decision. It's an ignorant decision. It's an ignorance decision. To be depending on the objective or externalities, expecting things from the external. The moment the expectation comes, the word itself is what? Expect. When to expect? How long will it take? Expect means expect, that's all. It's whether it is 1 minute or it is 100 years. Is there any short expectation, long expectation? Expect means it is out from your mind, finished. Now, how far it is, how long it is, how close it is, that's not a way. Expectation is expectation. Expectation means there is a time. Expectation means there is a distance, space. And what I said some time back, so long something is interlinked with the time and space, either it doesn't happen, and even if it happens at a wrong time. Suppose a desire is occurring in me, it should happen now, because desire is linked with the result of the desire. It is not that today I will desire and after 20 years if it happens, will it have any importance? Will it be a pleasure? It will be a pain. No, everything should happen in its time, we say. So if we are connected with the Jnanam, if we are in the Brahman, the moment that comes and it happens, that's why we say the Lord, for him, whatever he thinks it happens, or a Maharishi, whatever he thinks it happens. We are unable to make it happen because we are dependent on the objective externalities, and which is connected, which is very much linked with the time and space, the expectancy. So long there is an expectation, it keeps on, it becomes an expectation only, even after achieving it, because we have, as I told you, it is related with the time. So, the action such people perform in this world for the purpose of living a happy life are conditioned by the existence of the external factors we have already discussed. They are not unconditioned. It's always conditioned. Therefore, there's a limit for achievements of these people whenever a need is felt for being subjected to others' rule. In fact, that object or that person, that situation, that place or that object is commanding you, is ruling you. You are under the domination. You have no choice. If he projects, then only you are happy. If he doesn't come, you are not happy. You are dominated by that. Even though the happiness is your right, sadness is your right. When you want to feel happy, you should feel happy. It's not depending upon someone else or something else. Here what happens? That object dominates you. Don't be happy now. Be happy now. Things like that. Rule actions performed naturally will be subjected to the conditions laid down by those external rulers. Those rulers, they will demand, they will command, not demand, they will command. Today you be sad. No. So be sad. Today you be happy, so be happy. They are really people who are not connected with that. They are so they are really independent. Their will also cannot exceed the limit of the ordinance of these rulers. This is the case with every person in the world in every respect. This analogy gives this only to explain the predicament of the people in general. The rulers or administrators or the chief mentioned here are the factors other than one's own self. They may be any forces. They may be natural forces, unnatural forces. It may be heaven, God, human being, or evils, demons, devils, asuras, for that matter. So Bhagavan says, this fate befalls one on account of one's will and action being restricted by one operation of laws which are outside. So now in this sentence, in fact, the whole life has been explained in one sentence. The whole planning of your life has been explained in one sentence. The expectancy of the externalities and being close to the Antaratma, the Atma, which can only take you to the true way of living. Akarma, without karma being done, without identifying it as karma. That's why Adi Shankara said, living in this body you can attain the Brahma Sakshatkaram. He's very specifically said. All these explanations are for that. You may live in the body, but not in the body consciousness. That's it. You have a heart, you have a liver, you have a pancreas, you have this, you have that. Are you conscious of it? Are you dependent on that, in fact? No. Have you ever thought of it? If we had thought of it, we would not have done many things. We would not have eaten many things. We would not have done many things. We are not. We are not conscious. You see? We are not seeing it. The ignorance is this much. The ignorance is so much in us, we do not know what, we are not conscious, what is just below 1 millimeter of skin. We are not conscious of it. Forget about Atma. In fact, this whole system is functioning only because of those. Let me talk about the physical body itself. Even your external of your physical body is like this because of the internal organs are functioning properly. Do we give any importance to those? I am only bothered about the external body. My nail has grown today, I have to cut my nail. That's all. My liver has grown today, I have to reduce it. I never thought of it. No. We are not aware that which is there within 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter or 3 millimeter or For me it is 7 millimeter. Below, what is there, we are not aware. We are only aware of that, external of the skin. Not even the other side of the skin has also two sides, internal of the skin. We are only aware of the external of that skin, which is only absolutely external, only a cover which is absolutely external, and we are only concerned about it. Forget about the body consciousness. I think the term has to be changed in Kali Yuga. Instead of body consciousness, it should be written as skin consciousness, according to me. Superficial skin only we are bothered about. Right? We are not worried about. We are not established ourselves in the truth. Are we functioning according to the organs to make it function? No. We are not. That's what he's saying exactly. It's just an example I told you, that's all. So that is the case. See, we are not even established ourselves with those organs in the body, and we are talking about, Upanishad is talking about being established in the Atma. When we are established in the Atma, neither the mana, nor the thought, nor the indriyas, nor the intellectual center, antakarana, nor the sharira, nor the nothing is, we are not giving importance. In the sense, we are not conscious, like we are not conscious about the liver constantly. We are not conscious about the liver. We are only conscious about the externality. External, that too where you can see. You are not conscious about the places where you are unable to see. Doesn't matter. पीछे में कुछ भी हो, कोई बात नहीं. सामने ठीक रहना चाहिए. Face value should be okay. Facelift. A lot of words are there for that. Facelift, face value. That should be all right. What is inside the face? Okay, this is what it means. That, see, I'm just making you conscious how ignorant we are is what I'm trying to tell you, see. Or we means, I'm talking about we means the people, whoever is there, all the jivatmas. All the jivatmas are, how ignorant they are all. That we are not worried about, those, we are not conscious. We know, but we are not conscious. We know there is an Atman, but we are not conscious. We know there is a heart, we are not conscious. We know there is a liver, we are not conscious. But we are conscious that what is not required, that is the externalities. As far as the skin, external superficial skin is concerned, to the heart, this is only externality, is it not? The heart, if it could speak, what it would be speaking? Say that this fellow is not bothered about me, he is bothered about that outside, which is the skin, which peels off every day, every night. Every night it goes off. The whole skin for a number of changes in 7 days' time. The 3 layers get changed in 1 month's time. Something like that. So duration is there, time and space is there, which keeps on changing. We are dependent on that. When we are dependent on that, they dominate us. They dominate you. And you are totally dependent on that. And your happiness and sadness depends on the domination of that externality. When you look at yourself itself, this is the case in us. So, in a wider spectrum, when you look at it, it's the externalities of the universe. When the others or other things other than you make you happy and sad. In fact, is it not? For you yourself have never been happy and sad. You're always happy about others, you're sad about the other things. This sort of action, why did I say this? This sort of action brings about a reaction. That's why they are not karmas. Now, even though we may be thinking it is a karma, it is not a karma. Akarma, sukha, karma, akarma, vikarma, and sukha. So they are all akarmas. This sort of action brings about the reaction. And this we call the law of karma, which is binding in its nature, causing reincarnation and resultant sufferings. An action, when it is done, when we call it as an action is done based on the external experience or objective experience, and whenever such actions are done, definitely there is a reaction, and that reaction, which is known as karma bhala, is the reason why there is a reincarnation, and because there is a reincarnation and there is a suffering. It's very clear. Had I not been attracted and attached and identified with the externalities or objective experiences to execute my karma, that karma which I am doing, when I am closer to the Atma, when I am closer to the Brahman, is not known as karma, or that karma, even if I call it as a karma, that karma is not connected with the externalities or not with an expectation, because it happens during the process of being close with the Atma. It is Atma's vibrational frequencies that is creating. So it is srishti, it is not desire, it is srishti. When the action, what we call, is the srishti, it is not an action, so it doesn't have a reaction. So when it doesn't have a reaction, I am not the enjoyer of it. When the srishti is made by the Atma, Atma is the enjoyer of it. When Atma is the enjoyer of it, the sufferings are not there. Reincarnation is not there. There is no rebirth. There is no suffering. Absolutely. So what happens? As I told you, I think I told you about 2-3 classes before, I told you that. Why we are thinking wrong? Why we are thinking ignorant? Why we are thinking this point? I told you that. Remember this very well. 2-3 classes ahead I told. Because our thoughts are not in the same wavelength as the thoughts of the Prakriti, nature, or the Purusha, or the Atma. So there is a contradiction, is why the sufferings are created. For that, I told so many examples also. When it is along with this, it doesn't get. A solid thing, it doesn't get diluted in the water. If soluble, put it in the water, it gets diluted. When there is a dilution taken place, there is no resistance created. And when there is no resistance, when there is no dilution is created, solid and what liquid remains as two different parts. So long they are different, there will be a friction between them. Okay. That's why you see the stones which are there in the rivers, they all have taken the shape of the flow of water. Is it not? Because there is a friction. We all know it. Had the quality of the rock been soluble in the water, will it have that? It won't have that. So we are forming ourselves. Our formation is dependent on the externality. Our formation is dependent on the friction that we are not able to solve with. That's why we have got certain shapes and forms. In our thoughts. It's called the reincarnation. So that causing the resultant is causing reincarnation, and the resultant is suffering, he said. All this is due to the impact of laws operating outside oneself, compelling one to obey their dictates. The more in one's independence on external factors, the greater is the nemesis of action. And the greater of independence one has, the less is the nemesis or reaction produced by the actions. Hence, every action performed by every individual is capable of producing only transient results. Our actions in this world cannot give us immortal happiness. We cannot have absolute freedom by anything that we perform in this world, because this world is conditioned and it works on conditioned laws. That's all. I just reading it to you because I want you to know this is the opinion of the Maharishi. We explain, otherwise also we explained it, that this is the thing, but this is how it is when we are dependent on the externalities. So what is, in other words, saying, if you want to be, this we have discussed long back, if at all you want to be, we have to be dependent on something or other. We cannot be independent. Having the mind-body creation, having born as a reincarnation or having born as a rebirth, in rebirth, we have to depend on something. Then only we will be in a position to promote ourselves. If you have to depend at all, there is a provision of dependency, and you have to depend. If at all you have to depend, why not depend on the jnanam? Why not depend on that which is closer to the Atma? That jnanam will lead you to the Atma only. So the jnanis and jnanam. The jnanam, you be closer to the knowledge, jnanam. When you are closer to the jnanam will take you to only the Atma. Because jnanam is Atma. It's not that it is coming from Atma. Jnanam is Atma. So that is why every Upanishad, every Veda, every Shloka, every Sattvika Atma, every Punyatmas, every Rishis, Tapasvis, Ishvara himself, they advise us to be closer to the truth, do that upasana to the jnana, upasana to the embodiment of jnana. Hence every action, so what happens? In such cases what happens? That which you are doing, whatever actions you are doing, doesn't create a quality to attract reaction. When it is not attracting to a resultant of reaction, it doesn't have any impact on enjoyments or sufferings. Only then the account is opened. So long there is no reaction, the account is not opened. Then the question of rebirth or reincarnation doesn't arise at all. Again, the rebirth and rebirth, also we will be talking about it. We will be talking in the next chapter about the rebirth and after death, what happens and what is called a rebirth. Is there a rebirth? There is nothing. So it conditions the individual who is the content of itself, causing everything to be limited from inside as well as from outside. Okay. So we has finished that. Thus we introduced to the fact that of limitation of human nature in those who are divested of this knowledge of the Atman and who consider themselves merely biological units and not spiritual centers. They suffer. They undergo the process of the suffering without knowing that they are suffering due to this concept of theirs, this perception of theirs, nothing other than that. They are not created, these sufferings are not created because of anyone. That's why That's why the Upanishad said that the Atma is a witness. What will Atma tell you? What will Atma create you? Because your mind will never understand. What happens is that, so the tapasya to the Atma, Atma Sakshatkaram they called it. Atma Sakshatkaram or Brahma Sakshatkaram they called it. Okay. In the next shloka, in the sixth shloka, he explains about the Kriya. Again the same thing. Our actions bring about conditions which give us unconditioned happiness. We cannot be always happy merely because we live in this world. The conditions under which we are subjected to by laws of this world, the laws of action and reaction, many other factors compel us to have only limited happiness, as we have already discussed. So Bhagavan said here, even if we perform a wealth of virtuous acts in this world, and after death, reaching shining regions of paradise, they will yield only limited experiences. Because after all these experiences are action born. Whether an action is virtuous or vicious is not the question here. The question is whether it is an action or not. This sentence is what I had been telling you all from the inception of the classes, I think. Many people say, I gave dhanam of few clothes. I will get Brahmalokam. The dhanam that you are given is an action. It has to create a reaction. Even though it is a virtuous action, it's not bad. You can do it. Even though it is a virtuous action, as he said, you will go to the star hotel and then come back. After that, enjoyment is finished. For that much of happiness, you will get. That's why he said, the happiness that you are deriving out of the actions, they are very limited. Because action is limited, object is limited, the action done for the object, through the objective experience is limited. That being limited, that what is produced from the limited is also limited. So happiness has to be limited. I give one, let me say a dhanam, I took that and gave it. How much time it took? Let us say 5 seconds. 5 seconds will be my happiness. That's all. Equivalent to that. Equivalent to the action created, a reaction created 5 seconds, and that 5 seconds is my happiness. After 5 seconds, so whether it is virtuous or vicious is not the question, whether it is an action or not. What is that an action which is an unaction or inaction? Karma, akarma, vikarma. That karma which is executed without thinking, without specifying that it is a karma that I am executing, then it doesn't have any results. It has to be through the consciousness. That is why I told, again I connect it. I told you the same thing when you are standing on the bank of the river, when you see an object, when you consciously analyze it and you know the knowledge of it, it is not a karma. But the moment you wanted to experience it and possess it and experience it, it becomes a karma, so karma bhala is yours. You have a provision already without doing that as a karma to know about it. You are not utilizing it. Without utilizing that, you want to experience it. Like a child wants to experience the flame till it burns, he doesn't learn it. See? Right? After burning, then one knows is after that his experience is there. But that is a karma. Wanting to know, that's why objective experience. Each jivatma wanting to know. So that's what he says, that if you believe, that's why he said, don't try to learn Upanishad. Try to learn to listen to Upanishad, Shravanam. When it is true Shravanam, it's Mananam. If it is Mananam, it is Parijnanam. If it is Parijnanam, it is the Jnanam. If it is a Jnanam, it is the Ishvaratva or Bhagavatva. But no, we would like to experience it. I told so many examples. Because we are cold, we are feeling cold, we provide blanket to the god. You will see here in Bengal, I have seen, of course. During winter, all gods are raped in new blankets and all that. Yes, and in summer, air conditions are provided in the puja room. For Ishvara. I told all these examples. You see. What is all this? See, your concept of thinking has been remaining only to that extent. You have not grown beyond. It's okay, you provide it, nothing wrong, it's all right. For an alankara, for an abhushna, it has been provided. That is there. An alankara is there. But in winter, okay. Where am I? Therefore, limited results alone follow all actions. Nothing is unlimited if it is produced by action. That's all, simple. Nothing is unlimited if it is produced by action. Nothing is unlimited if it is produced by action. If it is action, it is limited. If it is not done by action, it is unlimited. Yeah. Sleep comes. Sleep is not induced by you or by your action. Yeah. And sleep comes every day. Without you telling the sleep to come, you just lie down, you sleep. That's all. But whatever you do, it will be an action and it creates a reaction. It doesn't become a sleep. I'm just telling an example, that's all. That what is not done by you, that is not done by you as an action. There are so many things we say that, oh, it just happened. That just happened is an unlimited thing. Whereas we command and we demand and we exert in order to achieve things, and they're all actions. And they are all limited. They will all create its own way of reactions, its own way of karma bhalas. So, sorrows are limited, pleasures are limited. Nothing unending can result from the actions which have an end one day or other. That's all. So please, what is he emphasizing? With all this, he is making one conscious from many corners of karma, bhakti, dhyana. In many ways, he is telling that everything. Even dhyanam done is an action. Dhyanam has to happen. Somebody forces. Oh. There is a dhyana class going on in Los Angeles. I am flying tomorrow because there are 5 days workshop on that. So I will attend that for 5 days workshop and come back. Okay. Came back after 5 days. Next week came back from Los Angeles. What happened? I brought some gift for you. Hey, what happened to Dhyanam? Did it? It was very nice. Very nice. Right, return it down. Ticket is lost. Dhyanam is also lost. Came back again. Back to the same old. So what is the use of? Even though I'm jokingly, I'm very sarcastically told about it. It's not right anyway. Sarcastically said about it, only to make us conscious and example. This is how we think. So that dhyanam is an action. So naturally, it derives a reaction of its own. No? It doesn't bring happiness. It's only limited happiness. What was that? It was nice. It was nice. Limited happiness. By the time he flew 12 hours, 24 hours, happiness is gone. What a flight. Dhyanam and all gone. Impossible. You see. No way. I don't think I'll go again to that session because one is enough. This is Dhyanam. Including Dhyanam is an action, is what I am trying to tell. Dhyanam is also an action. It's an effort to do this. Bhagavan says, Dhyanam, whether it is in a stone guha, whether it is in a riverside, whether it is in forest, whether it is in your house, whether it is in your posh, very well decorated house, doesn't matter, fine. Dhyanam can happen there also, no problem. Many people have told me, oh, inside the house, in the room, your own convenience. Is it called a Dhyanam? We have to go to the Himalayas and sit below that rock, where all the four sides water is falling. Fine. It's beautiful, I also agree, because there are so many plus points for that. If it is true Dhyanam, how does this four walls make a difference to me, who is a Dhyani? For me, once I am in Dhyanam, neither these four walls, for me these four walls and Himalayas and waterfalls are same. How does it make a difference? I am not going to experience the externalities by sitting in Dhyanam. Well, that environment is necessary for people for the mind to create an impression on oneself. They are all influencing through the externalities. I am dependent on as he said, I am dependent on the command of on the externalities. He says it is serene, it is cool, it is pleasant. Now this is the time you should be silent and going to the name. Oh yeah, you are we very conveniently change that word of command or authoritative, directive from the externalities as influence of the situations, circumstances. Influenced, very highly impressed upon. If you are not impressed, the Himalaya will go away. Impressed. I am impressed. where is, what, you know? I don't know. I'm just telling you all this jokingly because to make you conscious. They're all absolutely baseless, you see. They don't know the meaning of it. We are dependent on that externalities. So whether it is dhanam, whether it is anything, it doesn't mean that you should not give dhanam. You give dhanam. No, it gives pleasure. It is good. Somebody we are helping. It's always good. So you give food to others, good. But they are not, this I always told that. You do everything. There are so many organizations. There are so many institutions. There are so many people who have got big bodies. They are all helping people. No? They are sufferers who, depending upon the finances available, they build buildings for them. They give them food every day. They give food once in a week, or they give clothes to them. They help in different ways. People help. Nothing wrong. I'm not discouraging it, or I'm not telling it is wrong. It's absolutely okay. Remember, that will not take you to the Brahman, is what I said. Firmly I said that. And I tell that. It is not the... if somebody is expecting that to give you Brahma Sakshatkaram and give you the Atma Sakshatkaram and take you to the Brahman, no. They are actions you are doing. What he said that if it is not, whether it is virtuous or vicious, is not the question here. Whether it is an action or not is the question. So long that is an action, it doesn't, as I told you, 5-star hotel. Surgam. Then what? So Bhagavan said here, the real nature of oneself is the nature of one's own Atman. Learn to be closer to the Atman. That's what I had been telling, of course, throughout. So many ways, so many methods. Atman. Now, don't get confused. Here in Upanishad, heart, Atman, Brahman. No? Everything is same. Consciousness. We have spoken in different language. They are all only one Brahman. That's all. They are all Brahman only. Atma is Brahma. Consciousness is Brahma. Jnanam is Brahman. So to be with the Jnanam, so that's what I had been always telling. To be with the Jnanam is to be with the Brahman. That's, when you have got Jnanam, Jnanam is Brahman and Brahman is Jnanam. When there is Jnanam, there is no place for Ajnanam. If there is no Ajnanam, there is no karma. It's simple to understand. Don't leave even a small fraction of a second of your opportunity to be closer to the Atman. If you do not know, you learn it. Don't say, I don't know, and just be away from that. If you don't know, learn it. You have learned so many things. You did not know many things. You did not know anything when you were born. You learned it. If you have learned so many things, why can't you be learning it, that which is there with you always? You learned everything from outside. Why don't you be learning to be there in your own house? Are you... Real nature of oneself is the... That's why Swabhava. What is Swabhava? To be with the Atman. Who is that Atman? That Jnanam, that Brahman. Yes. That's why the Jnanam and the Gurus are given importance in order to give them, so that impartially they are imparting the knowledge to you. They are imparting the Jnanam to you to be in absolute safe and right. They are not telling you to do things like that, which is not right, which takes you towards the truth, which takes you towards the Jnanam, which takes you to the Brahman. Is why the Gurus have been given importance in our Shastras and Vedas, only because they show you this is the right path. Now you walk or not, that is it. But this is what is right. So Bhagavan said the real nature of oneself, because that is your nature. What is he showing you? He is showing you, look, this is your nature. If I am Brahman, you are also Brahman. If I am Atma, you are also Atma. Paramatma is only to make us identify that it is one with that. In fact, Atma, Paramatma, everything is only one. If I am Brahman, you are Brahman, that object is Brahman, that cow is Brahman, that dog is Brahman. In everything, Brahmam Sarvam. Brahman Kalvidam Brahmam Sarvam Kalvidam. Everything is Brahman, but what happened? You did not recognize it, I recognized it. I mean, the Maharishi said. So the one who has recognized, he says that, look, I am making you realize your Swabhava is Brahman only. So be closer to that, so you will be there. No, in the cold, in the winter, you set that gitti lagate, no, that fire in the chula. If you don't go and sit nearby that, how will you get the heat? I say, sit inside the room and that oven is kept outside. How will you get that? Oh, why? I have already lighted it, my servant has lighted it and he has kept it and it is burning also, but I am not getting the heat. So Guru says, hey bhai, thoda sa taklif karo. Please straighten your legs and slowly move one forward and one more forward, one more forward. By doing like that, you will reach there. Once you reach there, that's enough. And then you will get the heat. What he says. I'm expressing all this with all such silly things only because this will be in the memory always, how it was expressed. The point made out here is that we cannot understand our own self. This is what I said. How can we understand anybody else? We're all busy knowing about others. So when we will wake up throughout night, make calls, video calls. Old days there was lightning calls for them to ask, whether her husband had died or not. To know that, lightning call. Joking, okay. I mean, what I mean to say is that to know about others, which is impossible. Can we know anyone? What are you talking? He says, point is made here that we cannot understand our own self. If you cannot know yourself, how can you know others? The knowing the self and others are all again the terms. Once you know what is the truth, what is the Brahman, you will find everything is Brahman. Every action, reaction, inaction, inaction, everything. That's why you must have noticed in many of the television serials and all that, in that Bhagavan Shiv's this one, they say an avatar has come, he's very bad, Antaka has come, he's trying to kill, he's a bad character, and Bhairava has come, he has a different character, and so somebody else has come. What is that? They are all characters of our mind which is creating. See? When those characters are created, when they behave according to your own whims and fancies, that's all. According to your own thoughts. We also behave our own thoughts. What means? We are also creating each and every character every time. That's what I said. We create a character and we are commanded by that character and we behave. So what happened? That is directing me. Who is that? Beyond that, we never tried. That was created by me. Now he is directing me. It's all told even in normal common languages also, to drunkards, alcoholics. People say that first you start drinking the alcohol, afterwards the alcohol start drinking you. You see? है ना? उसको पीते हैं फिर उसके बाद में वो तुम्हें पीने लगता है. This proverb is there, you remember? Exactly same. Who created it? Everybody said, oh, it's because of the alcohol he died. Arey, who created this? First he created it. He drank it, so he drank you. Had he not taken that, he would not have taken you. That's why Kabir ka doha also. So what is that? Mati, and Mati and you rondo this one me for some time. Kal hum rondenge tumko. That's it. So all these are, what I am telling is that even in common languages, ये सब है. But we are not applying it to our own self. They are all remaining as proverbs in the books and singing and listening to that extent and satsang told. बहुत अच्छा बोला है, कितना सुंदर लगता है, गाना भी बहुत अच्छा है. That Bhattacharya sang that song. Who is that? Who is that? Devashish. He's a Bengali boy, sings very well. So merely we have a little bit of freedom to enjoy the objects of senses. It doesn't mean that we are completely free. That is where we were misled. Why did we get attracted into this life? Why did we get attracted into externalities? Why did we get attracted to the pleasures? Why did we get attracted to those ignorances even though it is not true? Why did we create those actions? Is because those temporary freedom, that what we got. That means that temporary pleasure, that what we have got, we thought this way if I continue, if I have done this, if I can get this much of pleasure, if I can do this much, I can get so much of pleasure. That was the mistake, expectation. So for that expectation, time and space. This is the fate of those who do not know the truth. I have told an example some time back. It's an Upanishad example only. It's not mine. It's Upanishad has written. Swami Chinmayanji has written. Many Upanishads have written. Here also it writes there. It is like a cow tied to a peg, wooden peg, with a long rope. Then it can graze whatever is in between. So long it comes to the end of the rope, it doesn't realize I am tied somewhere. So my freedom is only up to this. But in between when it is grazing, it thinks, oh, I am free, absolutely free. Is it not? This is what happens to our life. This is how we are living. We are grazing the grass in between. We are not seeing the end. To realize that it's not a freedom. It's only freedom, limited freedom. I don't know, for limited freedom, can we call it as a freedom? Okay, there is a limitation to the freedom then. Okay. But the blessedness of the people who know that this Atman is the grand indeed. Those who depart from this world, having realized with the Atman, is their jurisdiction is infinite. They are not limited by the laws outside. They are themselves lawmakers. They become the lawmakers because they merge with the Brahman, and Brahman is the lawmaker. So they become their will is universal law. There is a unity between their will and the law. There is a unity between the will and the law. That works outside. In the case of ordinary individuals, The difficulty arises on account of the conflict between external law and the internal law. Why are we limited in this world? Because of our will does not coincide with the will of the universe. This I have told you. Our nature doesn't coincide. We always want to conquer. We have got a habit, Conquer means possess. In other words, nothing other than that. Conquering is what? Nothing other than possessing. We always have an idea to possess it, conquer that. So, got a thing which is not necessarily in consonance with the law of the whole universe. The will of the individual is not the will of the Creator, he said. So, whatever they will, it expresses itself in the experience at once. There is no gap of time between the manifestation of their will and its materialization. Is why it is not that they think something today materializes tomorrow. It instantaneously manifests itself. This is the case of the blessed souls who have known the Atman. This we have already explained. The moment you are the Atman, thought that comes immediately takes place. That's why the words of the Punyatmas comes true. They are right. We may like it, we may dislike it. It becomes true. It is right. Yes. The object of desire appear to be outside us, which is the reason why we take time to realize our object. This is what I told, time and space. We are dependent on the object we take time to realize the object. By the time we realize the object, the time is gone. And there is a distance in space, in time between ourselves and the center of violation and the object outside. Therefore, naturally, there is a delay in time. The time taken by us in the realization of our objectives is due to the existence of space, which looks very vast outside, which looks very puny inside. The other reason is that we have no control over the objects of our desires. The distance doesn't matter if I am within me. I can reach any point. Just like that. There's no distance. There's no time, there's no distance. That's why we say Atma doesn't age. It is not born, it is not dead. So it is like that. Then he says, the other reason is that we have no control over the objects of our desires. We have no control over the objects of our desires. It's only some sort of intuition, inspiration that we get, and then we try to possess and then say that, no, this is not good. Our desires are not truth-filled. That means not satyakamas. Our sankalpas are not satya sankalpa. Our desires are not satyakamas. Is why we have conflict on that, we have delay in that, we have sorrows in that, we have pleasure in that, but not happiness. They are artificially projected by conditions which are not entirely in the consonance with the law of the truth. Therefore, it is difficult for us to fulfill our desires. The desire becomes difficult of fulfillment on account of its dissonance and disharmony with the nature of the truth. Truth alone triumphs, as we know, and nothing else will triumph in this world. And if the will or the desire of a person is filled with untruth, which means to say that it has certain characteristics that cannot be corroborated by the nature of the truth, to that extent it shall not succeed. But to the extent it is in harmony with the nature of the truth, to that extent it succeeds. Okay. The whole point seems to be that the object outside is as much as individual with its own status as the willing subject. That's the truth. It's not true, as the mind falsely thinks that the objects are disconnected from the subjects. The more the intensity of the feeling of identity with one's own body, the more the intensity of the feeling of the identity with one's own body, the greater is the difficulty in achievement of any objective in this world. Because the objectiveness gets more and more cut off from oneself. The more the intensity of the feeling of one's body and isolation from others, the more is one's feeling of segregation from other things, and greater is the difficulty in one's achieving anything in this world. So he's talking about the body consciousness, not the body. Let the body be there. Body is necessary. Let us not reject it. Body is necessary. Body is a casing that is providing the facility for the karma phalas to be executed and exhausted, so that the mana and the hridaya to dwell. We need a body. We need a service of the body. But you identify that as only a vehicle which carries your true self. Your functions should be based on the inspirations created in the true self, that is from the Atman, so that the exhausting or experimenting and exhausting the karma phalas will fruitfully take place, so that you get a karma mukti and attain the Atman at last. Till such time, this mind and indriyas and the body is required for you as a tool in order to achieve your goal. Please be firm and fix your goal, that the purpose of your life and the purpose of your creation of your mind, body and the indriyas are meant only for identification of the Atman, realization of the Atman. So let us meditate to that, in the sense dhyanam should be towards that. If that is the dhyanam should be constant. And if you are constantly, we have already discussed, if you are constantly nearby that, the emission of jnanam from the Atma is utilized by the mana and indriyas in order to execute the karmas and karma phalas. They will execute them as akarmas, not the karmas, inaction, and they will exhaust their karmas. If that is transmitted by the ego self of the ahankara, antakarana, it transforms into the ahankara, the I as the mana and the body. Then the same action done through the expectation of the mind and body transforms into an action which creates a reaction, by which a rebirth and the sorrows and sufferings. In section 2, now 8 to 1. Different higher worlds. This is nothing, very small one, and not very significant, of course. He already told. He says about the 7 worlds and 7 various worlds, and in various worlds what various things happens, and that he says it is nothing but a perception of mind. But in order to identify them differently, they have divided into different worlds, and our consciousness, please understand, our consciousness, whenever it reaches certain frequency, whenever it vibrates in certain frequency, and the vibration of frequency changes only through the jnanam that you are obtaining throughout your studies. The moment you gain the jnanam and you start behaving like that, that jnanam takes you towards that particular frequency, and when you are in that frequency, you identify that loka, And from there again you gain the jnanam and go to another loka, you gain another experience. So the number of lokas what we are talking about is nothing but the stages of our frequency of the consciousness we are attaining here in this world with the jnanam. Is it clear? That is absolutely that what he is talking about. So I just, for the purpose of making you understand, I'll just read it out. Tadyeta karma jito lokaha kshiyata evam eva mutra punya jito lokaha kshiyate tadya ihatmanam ananuvidya व्रजत्येतात्माश्च सत्यान् कामाशेषाः सर्वेषु लोकेषु भवत्यतः य इहात्मम् अनुविद्या वर्ज्येत्नश्च सत्यकामाशेषः सर्वेषु लोकेषु कामचारो भवति. This is the last sloka which I read. I'm sorry. The next sloka is that sa yadi pitrloka kamo bhavati स यदि पितृकाम भावो भवति संकल्पादेवस्य पितरः समुत्तिष्ठते तेन पितृलोकेन संबप्नो महीयते. In Pitrloka or different lokas, according to this, should he become desirous of the mains as objects of enjoyment, the forefathers appear by his very wish. Being associated with those mains as objects of enjoyment, he becomes glorified. His perception of the Pitraloka. So he says, Atha yadi matraloka kamo bhavati sankalpovadi sankalpodadiye matraha samutishtanti tena matralokena sambanno mahiyate. This repeats. Here matraloka, somewhere it is bhratraloka, somewhere pitraloka, somewhere matulaloka, no, like that. So, ata yadi bhratuloko kamo matuloko, bhratuloko, ata yadi swasruloka kamo, ata yadi sakhi loka kamo, sakhi, sa yadi gandhamalya loka kamo, gandhamalya loka, various pleasures of sa yadi Gita Vatitra Loka Kamo, Gita connected with the Sangeeta. Atha Yadi Stri Loka Kamo Bhavati Sankalpam. So like this, all these lokas he has explained about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lokas. What is all these lokas? So he just says that then should he become desirous of the mothers as object of enjoyment? The mothers appear by this very wish. Being associated with those mothers are objects of enjoyment. He becomes glorified. He becomes glorified. It's all his frequent. I just translated into different language. He, whenever we become different, glorified. That means we vibrate at different frequencies. Through the jnanam we attain. We will be in a position to attain different lokas. By attaining different lokas means we will be seeing all those who are dead, all those who are yet to be born, all those things. That means souls. It's not that human beings like them with the body. These are the lokas. So he said in different lokas. So Bhagavan here Maharshi also says that this distance does not prevent us from seeing them. Distance is ruled out here on account of the identity of the object with our own self. The forefathers in the other heavens are also can be seen at once the moment his will projects itself, that fascination. If he wants to see someone, say a forefather in other world, he can see. There is no such things as the other world for the person who has realized the Atman. That's what I said. There's no other world. Just as this world is not, the other world is not. There is only one thing which is commensurating with his own being. We can see our own fingers, even though they are a little distant from our eyes, say 2 feet away. This distance does not prevent us from seeing them. Distance is ruled out here on account of the identity of the object. So we can see, that's what he says, that different frequencies he mentioned about. The will has to be in tune with the law of the Atman, then we can see everything. All these desires in our hearts are really distorted forms of the manifestations of the consciousness in some way or other. Okay, here he says, this feeling falsely introduced somehow or other in respect of the association of the consciousness with the body is called anrita. I was talking to you that something has been mentioned, some word. That not consciousness with the body is known as anrita, falsehood. It is known as falsehood. When falsehood gets mixed up with the truth, which means to say the body idea and externality idea get mixed up with the true consciousness that we are, then it becomes difficult for us to achieve anything in this world. The more we free ourselves from the notion of the consciousness getting identified with the body and externalities, the more is our capacity to exert our will in the proper way and fulfill our desires. That's all. So what does he mean here, as I told you, that unless once you attain the frequency through the jnanam, when you identify it, when you are closer to your own Atma, when you identify the Atma, when the Atma Sakshatkaram comes, your body consciousness and mind consciousness is not there in the consciousness, even though there are so many things in the universe. But body is also one of that. It is not your body. You are not identifying it as your body. It may be there, but the consciousness of being there, that means that you are giving importance to that and you are depending on that, is called the consciousness again. So if that is not there, what happens? You identify the Atman in you through that jnanam. You have to practice that jnanam. Once you gain that jnanam, you identify the Atma Sakshatkaram. Once you identify the Atma Sakshatkaram, you identify all the Atmas, is the meaning of Matra, Pitra, Bratra, this and all that. Whomever you want, you're identifying it, you see, because you have to be there. Now what happens, as I told you again, we go back, as I told you, from the center of heart, you have withdrawn yourself from there. So you've forgotten about it. Since you are stuck with this, as I told you that, no, somebody jumped into the well and being there in that, see, and that's the world. He doesn't know anything about the external world. Yes. You being engaged totally, completely and absorbed in the present activity, you have forgotten those activities which you know, but you are not aware. You are writing a letter, you forget everything else. You are only writing letter, no? Forgot everything. Why you have forgot? Because you are writing a letter. The moment you are conscious of all other things, then you know everything. Not only this letter. But whereas your concentration is only on the letter, same way, our concentration is only on this life, this body, this activity, this connection, now. Now. So we forgot all that. So same way, you forgot all the other lokas. Forgot all the other lokas. So he says, when you are with yourself in the Atman, see everything. Again, as I told you an example, stand on the bank of the river, you can see everything. The moment you jump inside, you only see that objects which you want to pick up. So what happens? You lost the vision of the whole world. All examples is meant for this only. Yes, everything connects with this. Just connecting whatever I saw. Nothing is different. Then we will be, it's not that we are not able to do it, you don't want to do it. Now, accusation comes now. So long it was ignorant, Now we say you don't want to do it is why you are not getting it. Is what Upanishad says indirectly. Om Shanti. We close today. Om Shanti.